But you never know that you could. And when you feel that way, ain't it good, good dancing in the red and gold. Dancing in the red and gold.
What's up, Faithful? Welcome to the 49er Faithful UK Live. As always, I'm your host, Paul Hope. And look, who's back? That's right, baby. The awesome Foursome is here to chat all things 49ers. Now, Lee has asked me to keep this introduction short. So I have two words for everybody. London, baby! Sorry, Lee. It had to be done, buddy. All jokes aside, we will have a chat about that Debo tweet, what it could or could not mean. But first, I just wanted to say, chaps, it's fantastic to have you all back.
Oh,
Lee,
does it count? Does
Gareth,
it count on the live?
Yeah, you've been here before. But Nadji, This is your debut appearance, buddy.
Wow.
So
Is
welcome.
Oh, yeah.
That's right.
It is. We've done a few YouTube stuff, but not on the live, the actual live. Cool, yeah. Well, thank you. I'm here. I'm back.
It's good to see
So
you guys.
if any look, Nadji, you should be able to see the comments coming down the right-hand side there.
Yeah, I've got comments. I can see that.
Yeah,
it's cool.
Good.
So in
Hello,
true
Neil.
Yeah, in true 49er Faithful UK style, Nadji, we go a little bit wild on a Wednesday. There's rabbit holes,
that's
plot
yeah,
twists, there's live comments. But as it's your debut, Nadji, and it's been a while since we spoke, I just wanted to take a couple of minutes to get your thoughts on the draft. Have you had a chance to catch up? And what do you make of what we did?
I've caught up from afar. I've been extremely busy and not really had much time to think football recently, unfortunately. I've also had to give up playing football. That's how much I'm actually missing it. I caught it. I think, I don't know, I've seen a lot of knee-jerk analysis about every pick and everything. And ultimately, what I take from it is that we're such in a luxury time for the team that we can basically pick whatever we want, whenever we want. And it doesn't really matter. And we can just see at the end of this year or next year, or even in 3 years' time, if any of those picks has panned out at all. We've got so much time on our hand and the luxury of seeing if any of those is good, whether it's a first rounder or a fifth rounder or a sixth rounder, whatever. So I'm just like, there's a couple of names that I like. I really like Slick Rick. I think that's a great addition. And Mustafa, the safety, really liked as well. A nice pick. That's what we need as well. So yeah, all in all, it's just like we've got a good team, and we might have just added some ballers. But if we don't, we still got a good team. So time will tell. What it did is really put me back in kind of a football mood, and I'm looking forward to training camp. I'm looking forward to the podcast and picking, Playerwatch. We've got names already that's circulating, and seeing all these guys just get on the field and just watch football again. That's ultimately that's what the draft does. It's like creeping into preseason slowly. We'll see. We'll see. I think at the end of the year, at least, we'll see if it's a good draft or not. Because we don't need to have a good draft just yet.
So, Gareth, I know you've been very busy moving house.
Yeah.
Have you caught up on the draft? What's your thoughts, buddy?
I've sort of followed the headlines. I haven't really checked out too much in the players. Hi Ty, good to see you. It's interesting first pick. I think it was a bit left field. Certainly shook me. I was convinced we were going to go O-line, and I was sure that O-line I think was the best choice. And I thought we might even move up a little bit, try and get into maybe the early 20s, and get a bit of continuity for potentially Trent Williams' replacement. I was surprised we went wide receiver. Nothing against Purcell. He looks like a hell of a player, and he looks like a Shanahan player, and he looks like he's a player built for Shanahan's team. So I am excited to see what he's doing. Does strike me as a little bit of a luxury pick in that I didn't feel that having I didn't feel we were short of people able to catch the ball. Not when you got CMC and Kittle alongside, obviously, Debo and Ayuk, who don't appear to be going anywhere, as long as obviously we can get that deal sorted for BA's contract. But interesting spread. Good to see, I think, the investment in the O-line. I think Pooney in the third round looks to be a versatile player, looks to be one of those guys who, you pick him up at the back end of the third round, but they could have easily gone towards the top end of the second round. Yeah. You find that there's that big group of players who are not much to choose between them. And I think, like Najee, I'm interested to see Mustafa. He looks like he could be, again, exactly our kind of player. And interesting to see how he's going to fit into potentially a new or tweaked defensive philosophy. We might be seeing more safeties on the field, given that Brandon Staley is obviously part of the coaching team now. But yeah, I think we've got to trust John and Kyle. I think it was a little bit of a surprise where we went. I think we avoided the third round running back, but went for the fourth round running back instead. Let's see how someone's got to break the trend, haven't they?
Yeah.
And I think the later wide receiver Cowley, he could be sneaky good as well. So yeah, great to see us restocked. And just like previous years, we're maybe drafting for a year down the line, not the current year. And it makes me think we've got a load of people from last year's draft class that we haven't really seen on the field. So training camp, there's positions to be won there, particularly in the back end, the backup tight end slots. So let's see what happens.
Do you know why I know Lee's smiling? Go on, Lee. I think I know where you're going with this, because what you talked about last week about Playerwatch, is that where you were going?
Well, yeah, so I was going to go with Playerwatch because you said you mentioned Mustafa, and I think three of us on this show tonight are all going to want to have Mustafa as their rookie. So I'm trying to remember how we did it last year. Did we do it with the Wheel of Optimism or whatever you call it?
I can't know. I think we just picked. I think we just talked about it and we just picked.
So I've got a good feeling that me, Najee, and Gareth all want Mustafa. So I think it's going to have to be done with some sort of Wheel of Destiny type thing.
Thing is, this Jair and Huff should be back, right? So it's going to be one of those where I'm very much looking forward to talk safety all season long. That's going to be very interesting. See where he comes up.
We've suddenly become strong at that position.
Yeah, definitely.
See, what's funny, Colin has dropped the popcorn and the super chat because he knew this was coming, Najee, because last year I was 2. Ronnie Bell didn't work out for me.
Oh, well, can't win them all.
Ty Alston's asking how many mock drafts did League Allen run? I think I ran a few more, and I only got one player, which was the running back. So I think he might be my player watch. But Lee said last week, chap, you'd all be fighting over that. So as soon as you both mentioned it, I thought, Gowland knows what he's talking about.
Yeah,
for sure.
How many mock drafts did I run? It was over 100. Now I don't know if you've seen PFF this year.
Quiet year.
They're giving out achievements now, so you get a badge every time you do 50 mock drafts, 57-round mock drafts. But I only had one badge because they didn't bring that achievement out until I think it was 3-4 days before the draft. By which time I'd already done like 200-300 drafts. So I managed to get 2 achievements for doing 100 drafts. But in reality, it was more like 500.
Haven't you already done one for the next draft?
For next year,
so of course.
I think I did it the day after day 3 had finished.
Yeah, what best time to do it then? As soon as the draft is over.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
So something else I want to mention. So Gareth said it was a little bit of a surprise, the first round pick. I think surprise is the understatement. I think there was 4 or 5 of us on the team's meeting for day 1, and obviously it was getting towards 5 o'clock in the morning, and because we're all slightly out of sync with the streams, everybody just kept quiet and said we weren't going to do anything. Just stick your hand up when we've seen the pick. So it eventually came to the point where all 4 of us have got or 4 or 5 of us got our hands up, but nobody wanted to talk. It was like, what? Wide receiver? Where's that come from? So that was like the reaction to the first pick. When it got down to Jacob Cowing, I think I muttered some words which I'm not going to mutter on this show, but that was a shock. I was surprised we took a wide receiver in round 1. And then I was even more surprised when we took a second wide receiver in the draft. I was absolutely gobsmacked. And I think that's the only polite way of saying what my reaction was during that round.
It's funny though, because the Chiefs pick receivers, and everybody's like, "Yeah, of course they're going to pick receivers." And then when we do it, it's like, "Oh, why are we putting wide receiver?" And it's like, well, hold on a second. We had the best statistical QB in the league last year. Why wouldn't we give him more weapon? That's just completely normal. If it's normal for Mahomes, it should be for Brock as well. That's my opinion, and I think that's how highly John and Kyle think of him. And why not give him more weapon? Because Debo has been prone to be injured 2 to 3 games, maybe more every season. Ayuk is, unfortunately, it's especially during the Super Bowl, I hate to bring this back up, but if he actually is getting double teamed, he seemed to be struggling a little bit more. Why not? Should we open up the playbook for Brock and for George to, I just don't really understand why. Yes, it's a surprise because we've been picking D-line for 4 or 5 years in a row. But also, we're a different team now with Brock. And I think that's why we should be looking like, just give him more weapon. We needed running back. Did we need wide receiver? Maybe not, but also, why not? Just
2.
Yeah. Why 2 more? Yeah. But we do need somebody in the return game. And, Jawan Jennings, I know is resigned, but he's not going to stay here forever. We know that. And, picking somebody in the first round is a guaranteed 5-year almost of cheap wide receiver. Why would you not do it? It's, luxury. Oh, thanks, Dan. Appreciate the £2.
So we've got the super chat feature, Nadji.
Yeah, we do.
Blows
cool.
my
So-
mind that we have this on our
Professionals.
channel.
I know, yeah.
Yeah, so we were kind of cut off because I was on explaining that to both Nadji and Gareth, catching them up on what they've missed the last couple of months. So yeah, we've got super chats, super emojis, and super thanks, I think you call them.
Wow.
Right.
So that was because we
Living
put
in the future.
threshold for that onto YouTube, and obviously as well as our partnership as well, which you'll see later on when we quickly dip in with a 45-second video to showcase our partners.
Who
Before
would
we
have thought,
move- Yeah, go on, Nadji.
3 years ago, it was the middle of 2021, COVID. No, we were doing this on Skype. We couldn't see each other. I remember talking in my living room, on the table on my tablet. Who would have thought we'd be here now doing this? It's so cool. Thank you, everyone. You guys are awesome. And chat's
Definitely.
awesome. People are awesome. This
Yeah, I
is
mean,
insane.
You have the advantages and disadvantages of YouTube. I mean, obviously now I need to wear clothes every time I record, whereas before clothes were optional.
Yes.
Well,
Absolutely.
before we disappear down that rabbit hole, Gareth, I was going to get
Yeah,
your
save us.
thoughts
Save
on
us.
the wide receiver room. So there's been a few comments come out from players that are not with us anymore, Willie Snead, Ray McLeod. So people are saying, "Oh, why have you drafted a couple of wide receivers?" But we've replaced a couple. Jason Aponte is my go-to content creator for wide receiver. He's very excited for the Jacob Cowan pick. Now, I don't know too much about college football. I reach out to Nadji and Gary Thor when I need to know something in the season. But what's your thoughts on the wide receiver room as a whole? Do you think it's strong? Do you think we've got things to be excited about this season?
I think it's improved. I didn't think it was one of our highest areas of weakness that needed to be improved. As I said, it's not just the wide receivers. We've obviously got tight end, and McCaffrey is as good as having a second receiver. And I think Juszczyk is as well as a running back. I think he's just great with his hands. So having someone on the other end of Purdy's passes wasn't necessarily the problem. But I do think Purcell looks exciting. And I do think we've got something there which it looks bad news for Danny Gray and it looks pretty bad news for Ronnie Bell. And yeah, I think, players can often leave and maybe feel a little bit hard done by. Maybe they don't feel that they had enough of a chance. But I think we've seen this before with Shanahan, that if you listen to the coaches, if you do well and you have the right attitude and particularly you play well on special teams, you earn your chances. I remember when Mostert was just special teams, that's all we saw him. And he started to really excel at that. And he started to get carries in games. And then by the end of that season, he's our running back 1. And he was probably 3rd or 4th at the start of the season. So I do think Shanahan will give players a fair crack at winning the job for themselves. Obviously, don't know. Sometimes players, it's just they're a little bit upset, or let's not read too much into it. But it's going to be exciting room. I think it's going to provide some options. It's obviously going to open up the playbook, I think, for Shanahan. We do want that deep ball threat. We saw it a little bit last year, but I don't really think Debo or Ayuk are really that type of receiver. Maybe we will see a new wrinkle in the offensive game plan and try and hit teams deep. And I think that's a good thing. I feel you've got to recycle and reinvent your offense every single year. Otherwise, it gets stale. You've got to add something. You've got to change it in some way, and you've got to add a new wrinkle. Or in this case, potentially a couple of exciting players. So interesting to see. And I will go back to, I think, obviously we drafted 2 tight ends last year, neither of whom were able to make much impact. But there is a chance that these guys have been quietly plugging away. Remember, Juwan Jennings, we drafted him. He got redshirted for a year, then he slowly came in, and he's earned his position as a key part of the team. I'm hoping we see some other guys do that. And Gorindo, I think is it. I haven't got the pronunciation fully right there, I think, but he looks interesting as well, and he does look like he might complement CMC nicely.
Breeze is in the house.
Yeah, Breeze is in the
So
house.
share the comments.
Wow.
Now, I've been looking forward to asking you this question, Nadji. So a lot of people were upset about not going all in on the offensive line. But I keep seeing articles and hearing things online about the offensive line isn't the only unit responsible for the blocking. It's about the quarterback getting the ball out of his hands quickly. It's about the wide receivers. And it's about that philosophy change. And you mentioned it when you were answering Lee's question about the team being happy with Brock Purdy. And I think we need to remember that. We've got QB1. It's his first off-season healthy as QB1. And Kyle's given him the weapons. So do you agree with people who are saying that? Or do you think maybe we should have invested in the offensive line that isn't just about these speedy wide receivers and the separation and the philosophy change?
I mean, it's, you have to play this balanced game where, first of all, you trust what you've got in-house. And I think John and Carl are very good at evaluating the talent that's on the team. But also, offensive linemen are very expensive. If you draft somebody like that in the first round, 4 years down the line, you're going to have to give them a huge contract, which in terms of team building is very, very difficult. And if you trust what you've got already and you can find gems, like I know Feliciano wasn't perfect the whole season, but definitely serviceable. And, we made it to the Super Bowl with that O-line. And as long as we got Trent, I think we'll be fine. Until he decides to go, then maybe we'll have a problem. But the problem is we're rich everywhere else, and it's very, very difficult to be rich everywhere in American football, even though the cap goes up. If you start investing in your O-line, yes, you'll have a good O-line, but then Fred will have to go, and Debo will have to go, and, Bosa will have to go, because we just won't be able to afford all these people. So, again, I'm just trusting the process, and hopefully Puny is a good guy we can rely on, we can coach. His stats, if are true, are absolutely unreal for a D1 team. No sacks allowed, 1 pressure in 4 years. It sounds like they're doing the right thing. And again, I think analyzing a draft class when the guy's still in his house planning to go to he hasn't even put a shirt on. He hasn't even got any Niners gear yet in his hand. To analyze what that draft pick is going to do to the team is, to me, completely nonsense. And so we'll see. And yeah, as you say, I trust Brock. It will be fine. We've got CMC, Brock, Debo, and Ayuk, and Kittle. We'll be fine. We will win games.
In case you missed the review show, Najee, what I was basically saying is we get so wrapped up in the emotions of the draft and hoping that the draft pick players that we want them to draft, that we seem to forget about the fact that they have still drafted somebody who is top value at that position, and we don't obviously know where they want to go with the team or how they want to use the team. We just see that disappointment initially, but after a couple of days, you get round to actually looking at these players and thinking, actually, on paper or what we've seen so far, that draft class looks a pretty useful draft class.
Yeah.
There's at least 3, maybe 4 players who can make a day one impact there. And that's what's exciting about the draft, because you never know how many of these players are going to have a successful career. You could have 2, 3 Pro Bowlers in there, perennial Pro Bowlers.
That's
you
right.
don't know. You don't know until like 3 years down the road and you've seen them actually play in a live game, and they've getting that experience to come up to the game speed of the NFL to actually go back and judge and try and grade what that draft class is like.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
when-
we're here talking about wide receivers, O-line and everything, and Ronaldo Green might be the best player we've actually drafted this year. You don't know, do you? And he might just slot in the corner 2 or at the nickel, by the time the season comes around, and just becomes a perennial pro, and as you say, a Pro Bowler maybe. And we haven't even mentioned his name because it's not flashy. It's a cornerback at the back end of the second round, and it's just I think useful is the good word for this draft. It's whatever we've picked, we needed, and if we not needed, we might need them next year or the year after. So, we'll see. We'll see.
As Breezy says there, Nadji, these are facts. He thinks that they make the necessary changes when they need to, like in a trade or free agency.
Yeah.
And Gel agrees with what Lee's saying. El Presidente normally knows his stuff. Now, that's a funny way, Nadji, that you've just said Isaac Guerendo's name. I'm sure you said Isaac Guerendo was the best pick of the draft, because that's the only one that I got right. It's going to be great when I order that jersey with Guerendo on the back and face. He's like, what on earth are you doing, you idiot? But we were going to get on to the Green pick, because we talk about the philosophy change on offense. We could be seeing that on defense, Nadji. We didn't take defensive lineman. Shock to everybody.
Yeah.
And like you said, Staley's come in. Obviously, Sorensen, secondary guy. Maybe 49ers are thinking, as good as we are up front, we need a bit of coverage at the back. Now, Green was highly rated, I believe, Nadji, is that right? He was high on people's boards coming out of college, so it's a good pick for us. You know more than me. That's why I'm coming back to you.
Yeah, I don't think I heard his name mention all that. I mean, you'll have to ask Florida State's fans about it. But, again, SEC, and he was pretty good. His stats when I checked him out, were pretty good. And the ACC, sorry, not the SEC. Again, what do we know, right? Until he hits NFL level, NFL speed, and he's going to go against some of the best to get to that speed at training camp. We'll see, but we did need a cornerback, especially with the injuries and with all the people moving about all season and all that. So it's good to see that we just needed one more player, a bit more depth here, and we took it. And then let's see what happens, But yeah, it could be good. Cowing could be the best player in the draft. We don't know. 2 years ago, number 262 was the best player in the draft, and we never knew until he hit the field and started playing. So, yeah, we will see. I'm excited about training camp and OTAs and all that, and see all these names mentioned over and over again, and see the highlights, and people getting way too excited about unpadded practices.
Well, that's something I've not been sorry to miss. It's the instant grades after the draft is the most pointless exercise in the entire off season.
Yeah.
Because you're putting grades on players who haven't played a snap yet, and people are wildly wrong. I think Mahomes was getting like a C- grade or something. They traded up to get this guy. What do they know? One thing that I did pick up from our draft class was we've gone for guys with a lot of experience. Whether it's that Brock Purdy effect, we've gone for guys who've started and played a lot of games at college. I think they've all got 40, 50, 60 games under their belts, and they're not 21-year-olds. They're 23, 24. And maybe this draft class, we're going to see a draft class that is just a little bit more NFL ready than perhaps our last couple of draft classes. So it did show perhaps a change in philosophy. And obviously it was the first one, I think, without Adam Peters, wasn't it?
True.
So there has been a change in that evaluation staff and potentially that process, We know obviously John and Kyle are consistently going to be the big voices in that room, but there's a lot of guys and a lot of people doing those evaluations that leads through to picks like Brock Purdy. So I'm excited. I think we've drafted well on paper, but as you said, Najee, who knows? But it's exciting. Some exciting players, I think.
Yeah.
Not just the kind of solid, good pick, but Purcell looks exciting. Mustafa looks exciting. Garendo could be lightning. So.
Well, Adam Peters spoiled my draft day moment because it was Luke McCaffrey no matter what. And I knew someone was watching. I just forgot Peters tunes into the show. Go on, Lee. Sorry,
I think the biggest disappointment that I had for the draft is that we didn't pick. Well, I mean, we did sign T.O.'s son as undrafted. So I guess there's consolation there. But I kind of wanted us to sign Brendan Rice or Luke McCaffrey. Or there was another one, wasn't it?
Franco Jr.
Oh, Franco Jr. was in the draft as well, which is it's just like we didn't get any of those, and it was just a bit disappointing.
Yeah.
But it's not all about that. Also, so sometimes these coaches and the scouts and the whole scouting department, they go and see these games. They go to the Senior Bowl. They go talk to these kids basically, and sometimes they just fall in love with them. And it doesn't really matter where they end up on the draft board of everybody else. Sometimes people just make a good impression and you feel like they'll just fit in what we do. And they just go for it. And I know Purcell was one of those where they just spoke to us. He just spoke to us once at the Senior Bowl, at the beginning of February. And it was just like, I didn't see that coming. It's just like, sometimes that draft room, people just make a decision on a whim, or someone, what if we get this guy? We really liked him a couple of weeks ago. Let's just forget about all these charts that we've made and just go with our gut, and we'll figure it out. As the thing I just said, it's exciting, useful. What else do you want from a draft? It's pretty cool.
So Neil's put here that he thinks it's just frustration from the fans that have their favourite players. Now that's the advantage I have, chaps. I don't watch college football. So I don't have any favourites. And like you said, Najee, we all watched draft day. We all saw Sonny Weaver Jr. and you think it's going to be like that. And I mean, Peter Schrager called a wide receiver at 31 a couple of weeks before the draft. And a few people thought he was mad. And then me, Lee and Eric did our mock draft show. None of us went wide receiver at 31. Yeah. But you were going to say something, Lee, and I'm keen to know what it was.
I was going to say, I mean, after we did the draft review, we didn't actually go into the undrafted free agents. We just stuck to the picks. And there's 3 players in particular that were undrafted that we've picked up, which I'm quite excited about. Tanner Mordecai, quarterback, Cody Schrader, and Evan Anderson. I think those 3 names, those stood out to me. So when I've had a look at all the different game tape of those players after we picked them up, those 3 look as though they could be very useful indeed. And again, going back to what Gareth said, it is noticeable that we are picking up players who've played a lot more games at college. But not only that, players who've got a very limited injury history indeed. So we're looking for more durability. And that's what they always say in the NFL. The biggest skill you can have, the biggest quality you can have is availability. Which is right. I mean, we've known that over the last few years. This season, or last season, I think we were quite fortunate that we didn't have any major issues, not too many major issues that had a long-term impact on the team. Yeah. So it's interesting that the philosophy's changed now to going for the more experienced, less injury-prone player.
Yeah. Definitely. I mean, 2020 really hurt us. It's really bad. I like Mordecai too. I'm pretty sure I watched a game of him. He was on a bad team. Wisconsin was bad last year. And he showed pretty well. But we'll see. Undrafted is. They play for their lives, especially during training camp and all that. They have nothing to lose. It's always a fun battle. We've seen it on Hard Knocks and all that. All those guys that you've never heard of and then turn out to be decent player. There's a ton of undrafted people that ended up being very, very good pros. Just the way it is, isn't it?
Unlike Lee, I didn't stay up for the draft, chaps. So as Martin said, 49ers Twitter was fun post-draft because obviously rumours are the team were trying to find a leak. So they leaked some information about who the pick was. That went on Twitter. So obviously there's that kind of to catch up on. And like Martin said, they're just all kind of names. And Ty has jumped in with mock drafts are not real. How dare you say that, Ty? That man has done 3,400.
You should know.
But whether it's done by a fan or an expert, they don't count. And
Are you trying to say I've wasted weeks and weeks and weeks of effort on PFF, Ty?
Yes,
I was going to say that was his words, Lee, not ours.
Not ours.
Well, I did actually pick one of the players that we picked, Dominic Pooney.
Yeah, Puny,
I did pick him on 1 out of 300 drafts.
Out of 400, you did.
Now,
I'm going to hold on to that one.
before we go down another rabbit hole, we teased at the off-air to Nadji and Gareth. They're not aware of this, but we've reached that time in the show, everyone, where I need to tell you a little bit more about our awesome partners, Power Brand Systems. Now, pressure's on Nadji because Lee normally does this bit, so I've got to get this right. So Power Brand Systems empowers creators and businesses to build their brand, attract an audience, and grow through effective systems and software solutions. But if you don't want to take my word for it, just sit back and watch this video for the next 50 seconds.
Ready to generate more leads from your website, Google, and your social channels without having to spend money on ads? Our platform provides you with an easy-to-use communication stream that sucks in free leads from your website, Google, Facebook, and Instagram, enabling you to reply and convert them into customers from your computer or from our mobile app. We'll even turn your inbound calls into text message conversations, so you'll never miss another lead again. Once you've converted a satisfied customer, you can shoot them a Google review request with a click of a button, which will explode your positive reviews and increase your position in search engines. The system will also pull new reviews from Google and Facebook right into your conversation stream, where you can read and reply. Jumpstart your business by getting started today.
And that is Power Brand Systems.
Crazy. We've got a sponsor, everyone.
Wow.
It's ridiculous. Thank you, everyone. Thank you to them for sponsoring us. That's amazing.
Take myself off mute and try that again. Yeah, it is. It's absolutely crazy that we've got a partner, effectively a sponsorship there. And to think 12 months ago, what we might have been doing is talking about how well we can shave our balls, because we were approached by Manscaped, and that would have been a really good one. That because they're going to give us an artistic license to talk about that however we wanted, and that would have been right down my street.
Yeah,
so think yourself lucky that Manscaped didn't come through.
That would have been definitely a very special segment of the podcast for sure.
And does this mean we might get some more reviews? Because I think obviously the one review of us being not the worst fan podcast out there is the one review that we've had and clung on to for a long time.
No,
So
we've had more.
I think we have 2 or 3 reviews on the actual podcast itself,
Wow.
but obviously with YouTube you get the comments coming in all the time.
Yeah, the comments.
Yeah. So moving back, Martin has shared that his mock draft strategy is to pick the most awkward names for us to try and pronounce. So yeah, we know that, Nadji. I think we're all gutted that a certain tight end with a certain surname that I'm not going to say, I do not want to get us kicked off YouTube, wasn't picked by the 49ers.
Yeah, you got scot-free this year, I think. All those names are pretty simple-ish.
Yeah.
I'm still not sure on the Pearsall. Is it Pearsall or Pearsall?
Slick
what
Rick.
Is it? Slick Rick.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Slick
we'll just
Rick.
go with Slick Rick. Yeah, that's good.
So I think it's Pearsall.
So we're talking about insider information. Now, at the start of the show, I know you don't want to talk about it, Lee, but yesterday,
He knows everything.
the NFL UK got the 49ers fan base in this country very excited with about a 1.7 second video of Deebo Samuel saying, big news coming.
Yep. They did that.
So,
Go on, Lee.
Yeah,
Tell us
so-
everything you know. Because you know everything.
I say it's highly unlikely that the 49ers come to London this year. And when I say highly unlikely, I'm talking 99.9% certain the 49ers are not coming to London this year. I would say 100%, but I want to leave myself that 0.1% just in case something crazy happens. But I am 99.9% certain
But
that they
I
are
know-
not coming.
people might be disappointed at the fact that the Niners might not be coming to London. But that means, you know what that means, people? that means watch parties.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And that's better than them coming, let's face it. Because you get to see us and watch the game
Cheaper.
with us. And cheaper, yes, absolutely.
Yes. Definitely.
Yeah, bit
Not
weird.
necessarily better.
Bit of a weird move by the NFL UK. Debo. I guess he's just kind of a, he's a famous player, so it could mean anything, right? And they might just corner him.
I'm going to say it
Somewhere.
depends.
I think they're getting. Sorry, Paul. I think they're getting a bit of a reputation for clickbait. I mean, you'll never ever see us do that.
No, God, no.
I mean, to be fair, Nadji, I was at work yesterday, and I'm going to throw him under the bus. Connor Ryan was like, "Oh my God, it's happening." I was like, "I'm at work, Connor. I'm not connected to the internet. What's going on?" It was like, Debo's just announced he'll come to London. So then our message Liam was like, "What should we do with this?" And Lee was like, "If it's got legs, we're running with it." So yes, we did share some tweets yesterday. We got very excited. But then what was weird about it is then I was getting DMs from people saying, "Do you guys know what's going on?" I was like, literally, we would be the last people, especially me.
Yeah.
If anyone was going to tell me anything, it'd be out there. But we had a bit of fun. Like you said, Nadji, we wanted to talk about the watch parties because I think the NFL UK got giddy because a schedule release was due to drop. And I think they've been caught out by the NFL moving it to next week. So they've teased us with this Debo video. But like you said, if the Niners aren't coming to London, we will be organising watch parties. We'll be looking at possible trip to the gold mine. So you do need to keep those likes, notifications, subscribe, because you want to know the information. You've got to follow us on social media, baby.
Time might be half right there. Give them my name if you ring through at the 49ers. They're probably after the money I owe.
Speaking of insider information, it's a long time ago now, but the last show I did with Paul, I made a very passionate case for signing Luis Rees-Zammit. So now we know Andy Reid catches our show as well, and obviously just jumped the gun on Shanahan and managed to sign him. So,
it's funny.
We need to boot. If Andy's there, I bet it's Moonraker Mark. I bet that's
Don?
I've had so many people asking me about this because I know quite a lot of rugby fans, and they wanted to know how the draft was working and all that stuff, and how to explain to them how the NFL works essentially. It's cool to see. I mean, if anything, it's promoted the sport around Gloucester, I guess, and all the people that follow rugby. Good luck to him. I don't think he'll make it because he's playing against people that have been playing the sport since they were 4 or 5 years old, and he's been playing it for 6 months. And muscle memory is muscle memory. That's just.
Well, what I wanted to ask you, Nadji, is the new kickoff rules. Could we see the Chiefs getting ahead of the curve with the new kickoff rules? Because you talked about that, didn't you, Gareth? The new kickoff rules. And
he's been a professional athlete for as long as the NFL players around him. He hasn't played that particular game. And as I said, I think as a wide receiver or running back, he's going to struggle. But as a kick returner for a year or two, I think it could be. I think
he'll struggle too. Angles, the way you can run with pads on, the ball's different, the field's different. I don't know. I don't believe it, but he might, make me a liar, and good for him. It's a weird move financially for him as well. But
it is. You've got to give the NFL props for the international player pathway. It gives extra kind of squad places, and for the NFL, it's got nothing to lose. And to be fair, I'm sure if he doesn't make it in the NFL, Nadji, he's going to get snapped up by
it'll go right back too. I just really hope he doesn't hurt himself doing so.
Yeah.
But again, if anything, it's been an absolutely massive PR move that the NFL's pulled, which does not surprise me. They're very good at selling what they do, and it wouldn't surprise me if he's actually going some extra money just to do it, just purely for the advert of it. It's really good. But he doesn't have anything to play for. There's no World Cup for a while, and you could say that playing for Gloucester in terms of global branching is not the best, even though Gloucester's lovely.
He didn't mean that, Jordan and Jay Reynolds. He didn't mean that. I'll stick up. But I know what you mean, Nadji. Given the chance to play in the NFL, he's played for the Lions. He said it himself. He's achieved everything. But Lee, are you going to answer Shell's question?
I am. That's why I've left it up there. So the breaking news, or the possible some breaking news thing, was hopefully going to be if the schedule had come out tomorrow. You know what it's like every single year. The day before, it's leaked. Most of it is leaked.
True.
You can guarantee at least 2/3 to 3/4 of it will be leaked somewhere. So I was kind of hoping to see when we were going to play the Dolphins and who we had either side of the Dolphins, because that would be the obvious one for the people who want to do like a double header, a home and a road game, to try and get that in, so that then we could identify what the goal mine game is going to be. But the thing with the goal mine game is, this will be the first time where we've tried to do back-to-back seasons to fill out the goal mine. And I don't know if the 49ers would allow that, because every fan chapter has to apply. So I would have to fill out the application form, send it in, and we wouldn't find out until the middle of August. We might get to the middle of August and they might turn around and say, well, look, we've had so many applications, we're not going to fit you in this year because you were here last year. So it's not guaranteed. However, having said that, there's quite a few people who have turned around and said, regardless of whether or not they can get in the gold mine, they'd like to go out anyway as part of a group. So I would say there would definitely be a group from the UK go out. Who's in that group, I don't know. But I think there'll definitely be a group. I mean, there's Simon. Simon's out in September. Martin's out in October. So there's at least two people that's going to be out there.
Did we... Was it last year we achieved one UK member at every game? Or was it the year before? I think we might have been close last year. And I think the year before, there was one of us from the group, at least, at every game.
So I think that was the year before. And last year we tried to get somebody with the flag at every game to get a photo. And we got close, but I don't think we actually did.
I don't think we did it. But, that just proves that if you are going, there's quite a high chance that you'll meet one of us there and you can arrange things to meet up and all that. Yeah. The gold mine is kind of its own thing extra, isn't it? Which is kind of cherry on top.
Well, we had people from the group at the Buccaneers game, Nadji.
True, yeah.
Gold mine. It's a real moment for me. Stephen, one of the UK guys who follows me on Twitter, came up to me at half-time at Levi's and was like, hello, Paul. Fancy seeing you here. And I was like, oh my God. Photo with the flag. And like you said, Martin's going in October, Simon's going in September. So Shell, get that time booked off, because you didn't meet the UK faithful last year when we were in your hometown. And whilst we've got a rabbit hole here, Lee, do check out Shell's photography website. So she mocked me when she came on our show and said she didn't have one. I planted that seed and she's now got her own website, which me and Lee shared on our social. So I will share that again after the show. But Shell is a big supporter from across the pond, and I like to give that love back.
I mean, there's a very easy way for you to meet us all, Shell, is just wait for the UK watch party to be announced and book some flight over.
Yeah, come over to the UK.
Just come over.
I like
You'll
it.
be very welcome.
For those of you with a very good memory, Shell's website is throughshellslens.com. And there's got some good photography on there. Check it out.
Oh, breaking news, Lee. Simon could be joining. Apparently, he's got his pass out. The comment is live on YouTube, Simon, so she cannot back down now, buddy. Send that super chat later when you get the moment. And Shell, you're welcome. So, Lee, you said to me off air on Messenger that you had some rabbit holes that you wanted to go down. And I have been worried about this.
No, so we've already gone down one of the rabbit holes, and that was about the whole the rookie Playerwatch and how we're going to do it. Because, like I said, I think me, Gareth, and Nadji would have been fighting for Mustafa. So I think doing like the Wheel of Destiny, the Wheel of Positivity, that's it, the Wheel of Positivity, it's coming back now.
We could do.
It's an age thing. Do that so that we can pick it.
Well, I think last year we just happened to all pick someone different. Oh, I think two of you might have had the same, and was that you ended up with Ronnie Bell, I think, Paul? I think maybe you'd looked at that. Because I'm not sure, it doesn't have to be rookie for our player watch, because obviously I went for Demo. It just has to be their kind of one of the non-star players that you think's going to step up. So, it's not a foregone conclusion. I'd go for Mustafa. Probably I would out of this draft class, but I am potentially going to keep an eye on what happens over the summer, and maybe look for someone from last year's draft class. So,
All right.
yeah.
Very good.
Don't
Lee.
pick Ronnie Bell.
Hashtag Ask Lee. Is
Or Sammy
trending.
Womack.
How soon will you know about the official UK watch party? Yeah, I wish I could see it really soon, but we tend to find out about a month beforehand, 4 weeks.
Yeah.
That's when it gets confirmed. Before that, we kind of know, but we don't know enough, or we haven't been we haven't been given the authority to actually tell people what that game is, just in case it changes. So it always comes down to the last minute, to be honest. And I wish they'd kind of plan it a little bit better, because I've always said to them from day one, you need to give people at least 8 weeks worth of notice, because 8 weeks is pretty much the sweet spot for booking travel, because the trains over in the UK, the trains are very expensive. If you can get it 8 weeks out, it's a lot cheaper. Same with the hotels as well. So the cost goes up, and some people can't afford to go to these, especially if it's in London, because London's an expensive city as it is. So I'm not sure. And it's just reminded us of another question that I think it was Ty that asked, who's going to be the player that comes
Yeah,
over.
I've got
It's
it
going
here.
to be Kentwan Barmer. For those of you who know who Kentwan is, I bet you're excited about that.
I had that comment loaded, but I wanted to give Martin his props because he started the hashtag Ask Lee. Now, Gareth,
It's going to be hard to top last year, isn't it? Really?
Yeah.
It is, definitely.
Joe Staley. Now, apparently, the trains are free if you know a man. Just saying.
They're not, Martin. They're not. And you know why? I blame the government.
Yes, that's what we do on a Wednesday. Now, chaps, we still haven't given away.
Of course.
Oh my God.
Talking about Joe Staley. Now,
Yeah.
we
did
had
try.
much success.
We really
we
tried.
have tried. Now, we have 2 of these. So I have come up with a competition at about 28 minutes past 7. And we go live at 8 o'clock. So in lieu of the NFL schedule being released, what we're going to ask people to do, chaps, is see if they can forecast our opening game opponents.
Good idea.
Hashtag
Like it.
That's good.
Fighting NFL UK. Tell me to hit me up on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, but you tell us who you think the 49ers' first opponents are. Now, cheeky disclaimer, the winner will pay for the postage. And if we have no correct winning entries, which has happened on about 5 of these competitions, what we'll do is everybody who enters will do a wheel of positivity giveaway. So we will be giving away a Joe Staley bobblehead, brand new, in the box. If you need some more details, hit me up. But please,
where do people enter?
On Twitter, 49FFL UK, Facebook, Discord, or even comment on this YouTube video and actually somewhere at 49FFL UK, so we can kind of get that interaction going and we can give away this wonderful bobblehead. And once we've given this one away, we have another one to give away.
Yeah. So we have to think of something else.
We'll figure something out. I'm sure.
And you've made Martin very happy with his cat line there.
Very good.
And get well soon, Mark. Get well soon.
Yeah.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Yeah, we forgot to do the health disclaimer for the show. We put Martin in hospital last week.
Yeah.
We did. Yeah, sorry about that. And happy birthday, or happy belated birthday, Nick Clark. It was his birthday the weekend. We did wish him all the best from our socials, but we know he watches the show, so just wanted to give him a shout out. Anything else, chaps? Because we're approaching the hour mark. We've still got 10 minutes, so we're not going anywhere yet.
Yeah, I had a quick question, draft-wise. Do you guys think either the Rams, Seahawks, or Cardinals did particularly well? Are you worried they're catching up, or made moves that might annoy us?
I'll leap in. Obviously, the Cardinals have been stockpiling the picks and I think they had 3 first-round picks. Was that right?
Mm-hmm.
Certainly 2.
Yeah.
And obviously, they took most people's top wide receiver off the board. They should be improved. We'll see how it goes. I think they were quietly I was impressed with them last season, given the dearth of talent. But the coach had them playing, and the coach had them playing the whole season, even when they pretty much had nothing to play for. So I think they're going to be much improved. I don't know about the Rams. The Rams had a good draft last year, but that's also, I think they just had to throw those players in because they were in cap hell. Whether those players will overperform as rookies, maybe. I think obviously Puka Nakua is the real deal, but we'll see how they follow that up.
We'll see.
We will see. I think he obviously with Cup out, he had a lot of targets and did well, but he seemed to be a safe pair of hands.
They went heavy D-line. That's what I noticed. The Rams did.
They're trying to replace no more Aaron Donald.
Yeah, exactly.
So
that's trying to get after Brock
is
what that screamed to me.
But the Seahawks seemed a bit of a random draft, and it's obviously new coach, big change.
Yeah.
Some of these hot coaches from or coordinators don't always turn out to be top head coaches. We'll see if there's a long-term plan there. I thought they're still going to struggle because Gino is limited, in my opinion. Not sure they gave him enough help. I'm looking forward to the Seahawks finishing bottom of the division.
I was just about to say that first ball prediction of the year. You've taken a that's fine. I was gonna say I think the Seahawks might. That coach might be one and done, maybe. We'll see.
So I think I already made a bold prediction for the year.
Oh, did you? Oh,
I can't remember what it is now.
I have to write those down.
Show.
Remember, we have to keep count.
What's the review show? I'm sure it was in the. It had to be in the draft review show that I made that bold prediction.
The pressure's on because you made a bold prediction about Brock Purdy, and a lot of people think Larry Kruger was the first man high on Brock Purdy, but it was you, Lee Gowland. You were the first person that I heard
It was
on
me.
a podcast. On a podcast, Nadji.
I'm not letting this one go.
Where's your proof?
It's
we
in
all
the podcast.
know you drive.
And I said, I remember.
You said he looked identical to Jimmy Garoppolo. He's just smaller.
I said it looked like a good Jimmy, and I'll stand by this. He's a very good Jimmy when Jimmy is good. Does he even have a job, Jimmy?
Jimmy at the Rams.
Oh, he's at the Rams. That's right.
He
oh
is,
God.
Yeah.
Wow. He'll fit right in LA, won't he?
I really wish I could remember what that pick, that bold prediction was now.
I just have to go back and watch the show.
It's got to have been about one of the rookies. It's got to have been.
Yeah. It's got to be.
And I think it's
We'll find it.
Mustafa.
Make note of it, and then.
See, we get the gang back together. Chaos ensues. We're not supposed to be making bold predictions. We're not supposed to be giving stuff away ahead of the season. But all jokes aside, it is good to have everyone back. Been really looking forward to this one. I know I've done a show with Gareth. I know Lee's helped out, and Nadji, you've taken some time off. But it was originally Nadji, and I thought we were going to be talking a lot about Nadji's second love, Justin Herbert and the Chargers. We've got to get that one in there. But then Lee jumped on board, and then Gareth jumped on board, and it is great.
No, this is great. I wouldn't change it for the world. It's good to be back, and missed you guys. This is good times. Good times.
Yeah, and well done, Paul. And all the guests who've helped Paul out. It's been great to see you keep going. Yeah, I've been in the middle of a house move. It was chaos. 6:30 this morning. I was moving furniture to lift the carpet to have a carpet fitted today. I'm trying to repair a broken floorboard at about 7:00. So it's ongoing for me. But it's been nice to step away for a month, kind of keep an eye on what you've been doing, Paul. And looking forward. Suddenly it's like, well, it's May. We got June, and then it's coming, and then the schedule's out. We're halfway there, surely.
Yeah, I must say, I know we all live our fandom different ways, but being away, kind of being forced to being away, has been really nice. It kind of, especially the way it ended, such a heartbreaking loss. It was nice to just kind of like forget that football even exists for a month or two. And now I'm like rejuvenated. I'm very, very excited about. I can't wait for September. This is going to be great again. Yeah.
So
Try
Shell,
maybe next time, guys.
Shell is a fan of us moving the Wednesday. I think the move to the live on a Wednesday has definitely helped with the engagement, and it helped break that week up. And Martin's put great to see the band back together. So you're right, Gareth. The guests have been epic, but nothing replaces the awesome Foursome. And the pressure was on because I'm hosting tonight. You get to come, Gareth, be guest, and you've behaved yourself rather well, buddy. I must say.
I have. I'm clearly that tired.
Yeah,
that was your chance, Gareth. That was your chance to get payback for all those hours of podcasts.
I know. I set him up, Nadine. He didn't take it.
Exactly.
Didn't take it.
Exactly.
Oh well.
Anything, Mr. Gowland? You looking poised there?
No. I mean, like I said, I'm really disappointed that the schedule isn't coming out tomorrow. I was really hoping that we'd be able to talk about a couple of games tonight, but it is what it is. Obviously, I'm glad that it's not going to go on for like an hour and a half, 2 hours, like some of our shows have, because I need to be up 2 o'clock tomorrow morning so I could jump on the call for Niner Empire. It's their monthly call, so I need to jump on that for an hour. So I need me beauty sleep.
Well, you've led in with some kind of breaking news. So Aaron from 49ers First Takes was going to have me and Lee on Friday, 8 p.m. British Standard Time, 3 p.m. Eastern, to talk about the schedule, talk about the games. But because that's been pushed back to next week, Aaron has rightly pushed that show to next week. So we'll be joining Aaron next Thursday. So we will be back next Wednesday at 8 p.m. Now, normally I would announce a guest, but because you three are back, I don't need to book guests in. So I don't know whether all three will be joining me.
I'll
whether
be
one,
there.
two. So we will be announcing the topic. We will be obviously.
Well, it's probably going to be a schedule, right? I mean,
well, it doesn't. Oh yeah, it's next Wednesday. It's released.
Yeah.
That's right, because it's normally on a Thursday.
Yeah.
So there you go. See, keep me right already, Nadji. So we'll be talking about the schedule. Please do like, subscribe, comment, tell your friends about us. It does mean a lot to us. And the challenge this year, Nadji, is to hit 2,000 subscribers.
1 million, you say?
Sunday.
1 million subscriber. I like it.
Welcome back in the chaos and showers. But yes, we will be back next week. Thank you for joining me, chaps. Any final thoughts before I load the video up and make sure I press the right one this week? Because I pressed the wrong one last week.
Yeah, it's good to be back. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's great to see you.
I'm already
guys.
looking forward to next week.
Yeah.
Great.
Good to be back and good to see loads of people join us. Great to see messages.
Right. Well, next week, 8 p.m. Stay safe. Go Niners.
Go
Niners.
Bang, bang, Niner gang.
We love the San Francisco 49ers deep in our heart. Like Joe Montana in the corner, deep Clark. Garrison Hurst, stiff farm going 99. Don't get it twisted, one and all.